Live on Facebook and YouTube.
All right, good morning, everybody. So today, I'm going to probably talk about this issue in a couple of weeks too with Demetra. She's a stylist or a business owner up in Boston. We did some work together. She is a amazing salon owner. She has an extension line. She was posting yesterday about some 1099 issue going on in Massachusetts, like stylists getting screwed. And then there's such a lot of people talking about how 1099 is illegal in our industry, specifically people in California. And I don't want to keep on bringing this back up and talking to people about the accounting and the IRS, because I think it's just redundant, but I feel like so many people have no idea what they're talking about. And so let me just first be clear. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a lawyer. I do a lot of my own research. One of the most important questions anyone should be asking to their accountant or lawyer is, what needs to be true about this current situation or how I want to do this in order for it to be legal and compliant? When you ask somebody, hey, is this legal or can I do this? The easy answer for an accountant is no, you can't. You got to do it this way because it makes their life easier. But when you ask what needs to be true about this particular thing so it's compliant and legal, that changes the whole dynamic of the question. And then now you're going to get an answer that you want to hear. So, and you can take actionable steps to make it compliant and legal. Let me first start by saying, when you have independent stylists and they are 1099, this is not to take advantage of stylists. It's not to avoid payroll tax. It's not to cheat somebody out of their money. In fact, it's the complete opposite. You want to empower them. So in order to pay people higher commissions, in order to pay people a fair commission or a rev share split, it is one of the best ways to do it. Now, it's not for everybody. There's a reason why commission salons do very well that are W-2, except they can't pay above 45, 48% commission max. It's because they have employees, they have aligned incentives, they have career advancement, they have just a great culture because they're able to treat them like employees. When you have independent stylists, it makes it very difficult to, control your employees, because you have to have absence of control. That is part of it. But you're giving them freedom to run their business. Now, if you give them education on top of it to actually learn how to invest their money and figure out what to do with that extra money, how to put it away for their taxes, how to write certain things off that they get access to, it's a much better opportunity for stylists. And anyone on here watching right now who wants to disagree with me, please come up and debate me. Come on my show live and let's talk about it. And I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a lawyer, if you're an accountant. More than likely, you're going to be wrong saying that it's flat out illegal, because it's not, especially if you're a lawyer and especially if you're an accountant. And here's the reason why. A lot of the accounting firms and the law firms, they have partners in there. And the partners aren't necessarily partners of the business, but they're like rev share partners. And so I kind of took a little bit from the accounting firms and the law firms, and I created this structure so it's legal and compliant. And it works with California, it works with Philadelphia, it works with Pennsylvania. And so when you're thinking of a 1099 structure, it's a brand inside of a brand. This particular stylist has autonomy. They're able to kind of really develop themselves and their own career, and you're just facilitating the environment to support them. And how this needs to happen is this. Let me share my screen. I'm going to give you the quick little flow here. James, am I in the studio right now?
You are, but not the screen it yet.
All right. I think I clicked on the wrong thing here. All right, here we are. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Let me share screen right here. All right, so, and James, let me know when we're up.
You're up.
All right, cool. Let me get the right PDF here. All right, so honestly, it needs to be worded as a rev share, not commission. So let's get that out in the open. So you're literally you have a rev share agreement or a rev share contract with that particular stylist. And so why this even matters. So if you're in the beauty industry, you probably heard about work classification issues like misclassification, salons getting penalized, and like back taxes and all that stuff. The reason is it wasn't structured right out the gate. Like it wasn't structured correctly out of the gate. And so the basic commission model is like the customer pays the salon $100, the salon keeps the money, the salon pays the stylist $50, which is 50%, and then the salon is paying the stylist. It's kind of like equal to like an employer. Like it's, even though they might be independent, and even though they might have freedom of their schedule and they pass all the ABC ruling, it's more complicated that way. Now, when you have a rev share, think of it like you're going to have some kind of a third party involved, like an escrow account, a different LLC, a party who just handles the funds. That's their job. That is why that business exists. It's meant simply to handle funds and be a fiduciary between independent stylists and salons. So the customer pays the stylist service for the stylist service $100. The money goes to a third neutral party, an escrow account. The third party splits it up based on the agreement made between the third party, the trust, the escrow trust, however that works, the stylist, and then the salon. Now, if the salon's never paying the stylist, how do they get in trouble for misclassification? They have a legitimate partnership agreement explaining all the details of their arrangement. It's a rev share split. So the salon's facilitating the environment for independent stylist, and the stylist is producing the work behind the chair. They agree on a outlook, like an allotment of money. So whether it's 50%, 55, 60, whatever that means, or whatever that the agreement says, then they divvy the money up. And so if law firms do this, accountant firms do this, I mean, certain medical practices do this, professionals do this. So if you think about the beauty industry, we're licensed by the state, just like lawyers, doctors, CPAs. We're required to complete extensive training. Most states, I think some states are getting rid of that now, but some states have continuing education. You're providing a professional service requiring specialized expertise, operating an independent business with your own clientele. Listen, with Instagram and with TikTok and with YouTube, like these stylists really could have their own business. But the reason why they don't rent a chair and the reason why they don't go to a suite is because they want a team environment. They want access to education. They want access to the whole entire ecosystem of a salon, like the front desk, and not worry about buying color because you can do parts and labor and the color's already there for them. There's a lot of ways a salon that supports independent stylists can have their operation run where that's what they do. And if you have strong leadership, you got a strong culture, it could be a win-win for both parties. And so, like I said, when I opened this up, this is not to take advantage of any stylist. This is not to get around payroll tax. This is to really empower certain stylists on what's possible for them. And if you have it structured like this, where the money goes through the third party based on the arrangement and the agreement and the contract, because they're independent contractors, then when you have to get scrutinized by any Department of Labor or anybody else, you're literally going to pass every single test. So the behavior control, the stylist controls how they work, when they work. They typically buy their own scissors. They use their own techniques. They determine what services they want to offer. They can choose their product lines. If you have a bunch of product lines, they could choose which ones they want. Financial control. Stylists have a significant investment in their business. Like they're doing their social media. They're buying their tools. They're buying their blow dryers. If they don't show up, they'll experience a loss. If a client wants to ask for a refund because they didn't like their hair, that comes out of that stylist's end. They can set their own prices. They can market their services independently. Like this is true. Like I use Fresha. So what happens is they book an appointment with that stylist inside of Fresha and they just come to my salon. Relationship type, written contracts that specify independent business relationship, no employee benefits provided. Stylists can work at multiple locations. If they want to do bridal on the weekend, they can do that. If they want to become an influencer and have an affiliate program and sell products online and do all that, they can do that. They want to work in another salon down the street, they can do that. The relationship can be terminated by either party. 100% true. So the economic reality test, investment in equipment. Who buys the tools? I mean, I might buy scissors as a gift for a stylist every now and then, but they buy their own stuff. Like, think about how many stylists buy these fancy foils. You maintain your own inventory with that. Like, you can maintain your own inventory, but if you're using the salon's color, that's a parts and labor system, or you're buying that from the salon's just acting as a sub-distributor. So there's a lot of ways that the person's going to be buying their own equipment. They invest in their own education. A lot of them subscribe to these different programs online. That's the deduction for them. So the most important thing here, guys, is that you have a contract, you have a third party collecting the money, you don't control how they work, and you truly do make it independent. But one of the most important things that I do and that I'm doing moving forward is you help them set and structure everything up the right way. So at the end of the year, they're not have to come up with like 40 grand for their taxes. You have to also educate them on what a single employer pension plan is. What is an IRA? What's a Roth IRA? What's a traditional? How can they invest their money? And an opportunity that a lot of stylists have is they have the ability, if they're independent, which they don't know certain tax rules. There's the Augusta rule where they can use their house for business. They could write off $14,600 per child if they use their kids in their Instagram videos, or maybe some education content teaching people how to comb their kids' knots out, how to put a ponytail on their daughter. And then that money comes off their taxable income, and that money their kids won't be taxed on it. So now if you have 2 kids, $14,600 per kid. So that's 28, that's 30 grand right there off your tax liability. So there's so many different things you could do as an independent stylist that you don't get access to as a W-2 employee, that if you really structure this the right way, and you are a strong leader and you give autonomy and you're following everything that you're supposed to follow, it's 100% legal and compliant. So if you want more information on that, you want to really learn how to do it, and you think you're the type of owner and leader that's what you want, then shoot me a DM. I'll send you this whole PDF and show you how it works. But I think a lot of stylists don't know what they're getting themselves into. They're not being properly educated on what exactly being independent means. And if you're an owner and you're still trying to control their schedule and you're trying to control them like employees, then you are technically misclassifying them. This doesn't even matter if you're the contractor or not. There's certain things that need to be true in how you're treating them, which that could get fishy. But if you truly have a third party handling all the funds and you're never paying that stylist, how are you misclassifying them? You're never even paying them. So I just wanted to air that out there because a lot of people have no idea what they're talking about. And yes, a 1099 employee is illegal because it's a contradiction. You can't be an independent contractor and an employee at the same time. So James, is there any questions in the chat?
Yeah, we have a couple.
Yeah. So I'd love to anyone to ask any questions about this particular subject. I spent months studying this. Part of the reason why,
Longer.
What'd you say?
Probably longer.
Yeah, probably longer, years actually. Because I didn't want to rent chairs. I didn't want people going to suites and failing. I wanted to create an opportunity for people that's a win-win for both. And guys, if you're in Australia, this works there too. Let's take a look here. I just created this for somebody. Here's one for Australia. So why Australian beauty businesses need to do this? So Australia, you get murdered when it comes to taxes. This is this exact structure that you need to set up for having a independent rev share model in Australia. I did it for Ireland. Every country has their aspect of this because you can be a small business in other countries too. And then you don't have to worry about having that employment liability, but you have to do it the right way. So I also have something for stylists. Let me go bring this up right now for you guys. And James, get the questions ready if you could.
I got it.
Let me get W-2. So here's another PDF for you guys. If you are independent or you're thinking about bringing your team on, here's an opportunity for the W-2 tax trap. So if you are a W-2 making $50,000 a year, your taxable income is 36. After your standard deduction, which is 13,850, then your current tax bill is going to be 4,000 for your federal. State's going to be, depends on your state, 2,000. FICA's through 3,800. Total taxes be 10 grand. So your take home is 39,000. Now let's take a look at an independent. So you have a lot more deductions, but just some basic ones. If you just take the basic of the deductions, you're saving 3 grand that year. So it's a 20% improvement. Now, if you're making 100 grand, you're going to have a 31% improvement. So you're going to save 8 grand that year by being an independent stylist. So it just makes sense. If you guys want access to both of these documents on Google, just drop the word doc somewhere on my Instagram and I'll send them over to you, or 1099. Like I said, this is not for everybody. There is still a purpose to have, there still is reasons to have a independent, or I'm sorry, a W-2 employee. There's definitely reasons and definitely some people that should have, only have employees because of how much control they want on their salon. I don't care about the control. I care about building stylists to be their own brand, and so they can spread their wings and they can fly. I have an incubator. That's what I'm creating right now. I want to make stylists as much money as possible with my systems on how I did it myself behind the chair. So the busier they are, the happier they're going to be, the more likely they're going to stay on my team. So James, kick off with the questions.
So we got a combination of two. It's two similar questions. So Reagan Fox Harris asks, "Are you providing the color?" And then we have a little bit more expansive on that. If you provide color, tools, towels, and clients, can they still be 1099?
Well, technically, the clients are booking with them directly. So if you have a facility that's supporting independent stylists, and the facility, like in the operating agreement, that's what your salon exists for, 100%. Now, when it comes to color, the salon can have color there, and it could be, you could do parts and labor where the clients are paying for it. That's how I structure it in my salon. So the clients pay for the color. Like no one's paying for the color except for the clients. Now, if you have a dispensary in the back, the stylist, if they're independent, can buy it from you and they put it in their locker. That's something you can do as well. So there's a couple ways that you can do that. So the salon could buy it up front and then sell it to the stylist. And then when it comes to towels and stuff like that, just supporting them. Like that's facility support. That's why there's a rev share split. Like you guys are partnering up on a business. The salon is there to facilitate an environment that supports independent stylists.
We have, should stylists be sending us invoices or can we cut them a check?
When it comes like invoices for what? Well, the third party, like don't forget, there's an escrow account attached to this. So that technically will own the booking software. And based on your rev share agreement, that will split up the money. So the salon's never issuing a 1099 ever to the stylist or a paycheck. It's like when you have a PayPal account or you have your booking software and your credit card processor, they issue a 1099 at the end of the year. It's going to happen and function much like that. So this third entity, single owner LLC, could be a trust account. It could be however you want to set that up. That will be issuing the 1099 to the stylist and also to the salon. So that brings that account to zero. So there's no income for that particular business entity.
We have what should absolutely be in a 1099 agreement to protect the salon?
A lot. Like you should have verbiage in there explicitly stating that they control their schedule, they control their employment type, their services. And then what I do is I have the days of the week and the hours of the day, and the stylist in that contract, because you want to have a contract, they initial off on the days and hours they want to work. That gives them control. And you want to make sure that in that contract that you let them know they're responsible for their taxes, they're responsible for having their own insurance. There's a lot of things they should be responsible for. That should all be laid out in that contract. So if there ever is a question of did you fully support them and let them know that they were independent, it's detailed and outlined. Both parties signed it. I have a whole sample of how this works in my community.
What makes California so strict compared to other states?
So California has an extra law. Let me look that up for you. So CA, rev share. Let me get the one. It's like an AB5 law. It's also something to do with the ABC. Actually, let me look it up right here. Give me 1 second. I don't want to botch this up for you guys. Where is this at? Let me see. Give me 1 more second. I think it's called the AB5 ruling. They're a little more strict. So why? It's also California because they're super annoying. But they have a let me stop this right here. They scrutinize our industry so much, and I have no idea why. I don't know what politicians are in place over there that is making it so difficult for salons. they say they're out to protect the employees, but in reality, they're just hurting small businesses. In California, for whatever reason, they don't like small businesses because the way they run their state, it doesn't help anybody out. So you guys know that from COVID too. Obviously, their politicians were getting their hair done in salons secretly while they were shutting salons down. Yes. So it's called the AB5. I just wanted to make sure I was right with that. It was a result of a court case it was part of the Diamond X decision. So it was in 2019. The Assembly Bill 5 was supposed to clarify the dynamics, but instead it made it stricter ABC laws, and it created a patchwork of exemptions like doctors, lawyers, etc. So they have certain specialty exemptions for lawyers and doctors. We're also professionals too. And it made it really hard for industries. The reason why they don't go after a certain caliber of professions because they have more money to fight certain things, and it's going to waste money at the state. So they try and take advantage of salons because they think we don't have as much money. And so if you want to look up the AB5 ruling, that's the ruling that is the one that's so strict in California that other states don't have. But typically it's the ABC ruling is strict enough. And when you have this particular structure, you're good.
We got Amir Hair Artist over on YouTube. So what is the fair deal? How do you decide the fair percentage deal between stylist and owner?
All right, here's how it goes. I'll tell you my new one. I created. You come to me as an apprentice, right? And you may be W-2 because you have to be on an hourly. I like to do a stipend, like almost like a sales team. They do a stipend, like an X amount per day. And then you get coaching, you get education, you get marketing help, you get everything. You get enrolled into my coaching program when you work for me. Now, you start at 40% commission. Then as you scale up to 2,000, that's when you get your 50-50. When you get to 3, you get 55. Then when you get to 4, you get 60. When you get to 5, you get 65. When you get to 6 and above, you get 70. So I tier it up based on now you don't need the salon support anymore for clientele. I don't have to help you as much with marketing. You have a lot more repeat business. Any of the marketing efforts that are being done to build the reputation of the salon is not needed for you. There's not as much redos you have to do because you're efficient behind the chair. So it's more like a liability issue and how much you're producing. If you're hungry and you're a hunter and you go out there and hunt your clientele and you're bringing in 3, 4, 5, 6 clients a week by yourself on Instagram, you then now know how to build a clientele. You don't need the salon anymore. So as you grow as a business owner, as an independent stylist, how I run it, you can go and rent a chair. You can go to a suite. You can open your own salon. But what I do is I give you the skills to do all this. And then I give you the environment and the culture and hopefully make you happy enough where you want to stay. That's why I pay you enough money where it makes it like a no-brainer to stay, because for you to build out a salon, you might need several $100,000. Sign a lease, you got to buy the equipment, you got to buy the color, you got to do so much where if you're just doing it for the money, you're going to make just as much money behind the chair working for me. And then what we do is we create other avenues for you to build more income streams. So that could be affiliate marketing, that could be producing a digital product, that could be a rev share on top of what the rest of the team is doing by being a leader in that location, or we open a location together. So I take you from not knowing anything from hair school, I pay you as much as I can so I still make money as a salon owner, and we can reinvest and keep the facility up to date and reinvest in education and keep building our business. And then at a certain point, I'm going to be like, hey, Fernando, like, you're doing great. You're amazing. Let's open a salon together. There's a building down the street. I think it's 10 miles away or 8 miles away. I think it'll be a great opportunity for us. And for you, I know you want to own your own salon. And that's when you start extending out your amount of locations with people in your network. And so again, as an owner, I don't want to be stuck doing everything. So then you empower your team to then become an owner, and then empower other people to become hairstylists, and empower them to become managers, and empower them to become owners. And so if you have this everybody can win attitude, like if you're an owner and you're still doing hair behind the chair and you're afraid to stop doing hair behind the chair for whatever reason, and you don't empower your team to replace you and be as good as you at cutting and coloring, you're always going to trade your time for money. And so once you remove yourself from the chair, now you have ownership responsibilities. Then what happens is you're stuck doing stuff all day long to run the company, run the business. So then you want to build a leadership team. And then that takes some more stuff off your plate. Then once you take all that off your plate, you have a salon running pretty smooth, but they don't need you anymore. Then what do? Well, either you lose your top people or you grow with them. So that's what I do. I grow with them. But that's the structure from 40 to 70. And 70 might be too much at some locations, by the way. I happen to have very low rent where I'm at.
Can I have a team culture with 1099s, or does that blur the legal lines?
No, because you can have law firms have independent, like they have partners in the law firm and no one walks in there drunk wearing a bathing suit. Like, don't hire idiots. Let me just say that first. Like, be very selective on who you bring on your team, first and foremost. Then part of your position agreement and part of your contract is they agree to how the salon operates. They agree they're going to show up this way, and this way. If they don't agree to that, they don't have to work there. So you have a culture contract. And then inside of that culture contract, this is how we show up. Do you agree to this? Like, are you okay with this? Like, part of being part of this team, even though you're independent, is we do these things. And you don't have to work here. So you have to make sure that you're hiring people that want the best out of this career. So you can't micromanage how they work. Like, that's having too much control. You can't say, you can't cut hair like that. You can't color hair like that. But we don't anyway. We have such artistic creative freedom. So this is why it's such a difficult conversation with people who are like, this is illegal. But so many salon owners who have W-2 employees are paying 55, 60% anyway. And they don't control their team members. And it's like, it's pretty much they're independent. So let's give them the power of writing everything off they can, liquidate or free up some of that payroll tax that you are paying because you're overpaying them commission. You want to keep them happy and give them a real opportunity to start writing some things off and becoming a real business in America or whatever country you're in. So yeah, you can have a culture contract.
Amir Hair Artist followed up. He said, so is it from the total turnover or you exclude expenses first? And he also said, and do you include the future plan in this job interview when you hire stylists?
Yeah, I want to know everything about that. I want to know what's important to them. I want to know what they want out of this career. I want to know what their vision is. I want to know if they want to own a salon. I want to know anything and everything about that person. Like, what experiences do you want to have in life? That's what I want to know. Like, everything about your career, about your personal life. So I ask all those questions. And no, that's part of the rev share split. You supply the salon and everything else, and they supply the talent. That's why it's a partnership. You could have, like, I have a calculator. I have a commission calculator on my website, nickmarabella.com. It's free to use. Just go in the search bar and put calculator. You can put in all your expenses, and it gives you a dollar amount of how much it costs the salon per person to operate. So it breaks down all your expenses. And like, if you have 10 people, it might be $200. If you have 20 people, it drops to 100. If you have 5 people, it goes to 400. So it will be, or don't judge that math. I just said it off the top of my head, but it would, it gives you a breakdown of what it costs to operate based on the amount of people you have working there. So if you do a split schedule and you do like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday crew and a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday crew, it takes that dollar amount and then cuts that in half again. So you just gotta be clever. You gotta be savvy. Like, we take advice from people because they're professionals, but I mean, we do it with doctors, and look at where that got us in America. One of the most unhealthiest countries in the world. It just, stop taking advice from other professionals who don't know what they're talking about. They don't continue their education. They don't look deep in things, and it's getting a lot of people in trouble. And that goes for both ways. Like, don't just get into this independent 1099 structure without knowing what you're doing. Like, even just research what I say. I'm not a professional. I've probably done more research in this than 99% of accountants I talk to, though. I guarantee you that. But this is my DNA. This is what I like. Like, when I do marketing or I do SEO, I learn everything about SEO. I can sit at a table with some of the best in the world and talk SEO with them because it's part of my business. I could talk Google ads with them. I could talk return on ad spend. I could talk about customer acquisition costs, lifetime value, conversion rate optimization, optimizing for conversion rate, optimizing for page load time, how to compress CSS, how to compress JavaScript. Like, I know this stuff because I made it my business to know this stuff as a business owner. You have to learn the language of the thing that you're doing. And that's why it's so difficult to be a business owner, because there's so many moving parts. It's much easier just to know color theory, the basis of cutting, stand behind a chair, and then have a consultation with somebody and then cut their hair or color their hair. And your day's over. But in order to actually have a business, you have to understand how to have a conversation with every person who handles every aspect of your business if you're not going to do it so you don't get taken advantage of. Like, I talked to somebody yesterday, they're paying $2,000 a month for SEO. I can do a better job in 2 hours a month than that company is doing for $2,000 a month. I do it for myself. So it's up to you to understand anything and everything that happens in your business as an owner. And the problem with a lot of people in our industry is they're so data driven, and that's amazing to be data driven. But if you know how to organize numbers, beautiful. But if you can't do things to make those numbers bigger, what good are you? So I think what separates me from other people is I know the foundation of how to make a salon busy. Like, I'm not budgeted. I don't budget money well at all. I don't teach budgeting though. Like, I can teach it. I just choose not to. If you want to learn how to budget money, go to Dave Ramsey. Just go to him. I have no need to teach it. He's the best of the best. So, but I can't go to Dave and ask him to tell me how I can structure my website so I'm going to be coming up in voice search, Google search, and ChatGPT. He doesn't know the answer. It doesn't really help his business. He's above that already. So this is my error. This is my wheelhouse. This is what I love doing. So that's what you need to do as an owner. If you understand the numbers, great. But if you focus all your attention on that, but you have no idea how to market your salon, where are you getting clients from? How are you going to attract stylists? So there's so much that goes into it. James, next question.
Yeah. What if I give them the freedom and they still act like employees? Does intent matter?
If they act like employees, that's really not on you. You can't treat them like employees. Like, if you have the contract with them and they want to keep on asking you, hey, can I take off? That's on them. Listen, this is not for, I'm telling you right now, like, people always say to me, like, how do you manage your team or control? Like, you don't. That's the beauty of it. You don't hire idiots. You teach them how to be business people. And if you hire people that are hungry and they want to make money, they're not taking off every other week to go to a concert. So let's take a look at the two issues we're going to have in a business: a people or process. What's your process for hiring the right people? If that's broken, you're never going to be able to get ahead. You have to fix your hiring process and your interview process. Like, when I talk to owners and they come into the program, that's one of the first places I start. Why did you hire that person? Like, if you look around your salon and you have a salon full of idiots, you might have to look in the mirror because there was an idiot who hired them. And then if they were great when you hire them and then they fell apart, then what's your process for holding accountability for people? This isn't just cutting and coloring hair, ladies and gentlemen. Like, you own a business now. Too many people still have the mindset of a hairstylist or a barber when they enter into business, and they think that because you're good at cutting and coloring hair, that it's going to be easy to run a salon. It's not. If that was the case, there'd be a lot more millionaires out there who own salons. It's like a lot of chefs open restaurants because they're great chefs. They suck at running a business. That's why a lot of them have partners. So, as much as you learned about hair cutting and coloring, you have to learn that much about business, marketing, leadership, money. All right, James.
If I give them leads from marketing or book them through the front desk, does that cause a problem?
No, because you could be doing lead generation. That could be in your contract. So the booking software isn't owned by you. The salon doesn't own the booking software. That's the third party's job to facilitate bookings. The salon could support them in marketing efforts. Like, how I structure mine, so I want to make sure I'm transparent, is it's really a coaching business for them in the salon. So they're just part of this program, and I'm building them. And so that's the kind of relationship I have. So as long as you have the agreement and the contract, they should be farming their own clients though. But just like law firms, like you start building your own client list. Accounting firms, as you get busy, you start attracting your own clients. That's why you become a partner, because you're such a valuable asset. So I'm gonna look that up
We
again.
have. What would you say the line is between providing guidance and control that would get you in trouble with a 1099?
Jen, you need to be here at 3:00, or you need to be here at 9 a.m. every Friday. That's control. Hey, Jen, what are your, like, you told me your goals were to like make 20,000 a month after the rev share split. Do you think it would be better if you were here earlier on Fridays to like accommodate the clients who want to come early Friday morning? Because we get a lot of phone calls for people who want appointments on Friday morning, and you're never here for them. Do you think that doing maybe like an extra 3 or 4 clients on a Friday morning would help you get to that goal? And they're gonna be like, yeah. Like, so do you think that maybe you should open your book up on Friday mornings? Well, I didn't know that many people were calling. Yeah, they really are. I think it might be a good opportunity for you to build your business if you really start focusing more on like being in the salon on like Friday mornings and Saturdays. There's a real opportunity there for you. So if you want to, let me know and we could, talk to whoever and get your book open, but totally your choice. You gave control and you gave guidance. Hope that makes sense.
And that is all I have.
All right. That's awesome, guys. So yeah, this is going to be on YouTube, so you can rewatch it again. And listen, if I'm wrong in anything, please just come up here and tell me. Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me how I'm wrong. And then let's figure out how we can make it compliant and legal together.
I'd love to see someone come on and debate you about this. That'd be fantastic. No one has. You've offered a lot.
Yeah, I do. You know what it is? Because when I do get into debates, I send them these documents and it breaks everything down. Like, well, you found a loophole. I didn't find a loophole. It's not a loophole. Like people talk about, oh, you loopholed your taxes. No, you didn't. The law says this. You can write your kid off if you pay them as an employee for your company, and then you don't pay taxes on that money. It's not a loophole. That's just being smart. And so, but it has to align with your vision. So one of the things we do is it's called the perfect salon model that we build. And so it could be rental, it could be commission, it could be a hybrid, it could be this independent stylist, it could be hourly, but it has to align with your vision and has to provide you freedom. The reason why you own a business is to have a little bit of control and freedom of your own life and get that time back. When you're an employee, you work for somebody else. You don't have any of that freedom as much as you like. And so when I created this, I don't like being told what to do, as you guys can probably tell. I like finding ways around things to do things the way I want to. And if I don't like being told what to do, and granted, when you have a business, you have to have structure or chaos in there. But I want to be able to have my team empowered to make the right decision. So rather than telling my team what to do, I want to show them the right things to do so they make the better decisions by themselves. And if they make better decisions without me having to tell them what to do, then that's a great person to have on your team. And so that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to make mini little businesses inside of my business so they make better decisions and I can be a little more hands off. And it's definitely challenging at times. I promise you. This is not for the weak leaders that are out there. Like there's a lot of hard conversations that have to happen. So, all right, guys, tomorrow we're going to kick it off. I think James, right? We have a live going on tomorrow.
We should attend, right? Correct.
Yeah, I might do a little earlier. I'm not sure yet, but see everyone tomorrow. We might do a little later than 10. I think I have to get my car done, or we can do it at the dealership. But all right, so guys, that's it. It'll be on YouTube. If you're on YouTube right now, make sure you click subscribe. If you're on Instagram and you have any questions about getting help in this area or any area about marketing, leadership, how to run your salon, shoot me a DM, say grow, and we'll get in a conversation, see if I can help.
And if you're on Instagram, go over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Lots of really good content coming out from over there as well.
And if you guys like the read, you don't like listening to the content, the blogs that are on my site are phenomenal. Sign up for the newsletter. We'll see you guys later.